As we talk about the regional constituents, how will, in your opinion, will Hezbollah respond, or what should Americans know about how they've already responded?
Well, this is an excellent question because it gets back to really the root cause of this confrontation between Iran and Israel. Hezbollah is Iran's ally. You know, when we think about Iranian proxies or Iranian groups that receive support throughout the region, Hezbollah stands sort of head and shoulders above the rest. It's a very large, very powerful organization. Its relationship with Iran goes back decades. And Hezbollah is also the most powerful, the most armed and equipped group that has sided with Iran, that Iran considers an ally. And finally, Hezbollah is positioned right next to Israel. It's positioned in southern Lebanon. It has hundreds of thousands of rockets that it could deploy against Israel in the event of a major war. This, of course, is creating a great deal of concern in Israel. In the aftermath of the October 7th attack by Hamas, the Israeli government, the Israeli military, and the Israeli people are very concerned about the threat posed by Hezbollah. And by extension, they're concerned about how Iran might be able to support Hezbollah in the event of a war, in the event of a broader conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. So that is something that I think we should all be very mindful of. And it's also something that the U.S. is very mindful of. Escalation risks on Israel's northern border between Israel and Hezbollah remain very high, and they remain something that will continue and endure even if the situation in Gaza becomes a little bit more settled. When Israel has addressed its security concerns in Gaza, when it has reduced the threat from Hamas, it is very likely to turn its attentions to Hezbollah, and we might see greater risks and encroaching crises from that area in the not-too-distant future.
And what about the response from the Sunni Arab states?
Well, the response from states elsewhere in the region to this back and forth between Iran and Israel has been very interesting. On the one hand, states like Jordan and Saudi Arabia did support Israel's defense from the Iranian attack. We do know that there was a degree of support that was given. In the case of the Jordanians, it was self-interested. They were shooting down drones and missiles that were passing through their own airspace. Jordan is not interested in becoming a battleground for an Iran-Israel competition. It's not interested in turning into a new Syria. At the same time, there is identification between the Sunni Arab states and Israel as far as addressing the threat from Iran. You know, we need to keep in mind, even though Saudi Arabia has normalized relations with Iran, there was that big agreement between Iran and Saudi last year that was brokered, mediated by China. There's been quite a lot of talk about Saudi and Iran reducing tensions, improving relations. States in the Persian Gulf and Sunni Arab states throughout the region remain very wary of Iran. They remain concerned about Iran's capabilities and the threat that Iran poses to their own security. So there is mutual interest, I would say, in forming stronger ties with Israel. But what is looming over that is the threat, the political challenge posed by Israel's operation in Gaza, and the issue of addressing Palestinian statehood and a two-state solution. So long as war continues in Gaza, and so long as Israel appears to stand in the way of a Palestinian state, it will be very difficult for governments like Saudi Arabia to allow themselves to be more closely identified with Israel.